All right, we're going to do a few more pages here, starting with two-step word problems. And the first thing I do is always the same. I pick up my pencil and I write my name. So do the same thing and then we can begin. I'm going to do some of these with you and then we will let you do some of them on your own. Number 1 says, Callie had 13 new pens. So she has 13 pens. That's what she has. She's giving 2 pens to each of her 6 friends. How many pens did she have left? Oh, 2 steps. So we have to figure out how many she gave and then how many she had left. Well, if she gives away 2 pens 6 times, we have a multiplication problem. 2 times 6 is 12. So she gave away 12 pens because she gave 2 pens to each of her 6 friends. So that would be like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2 times 6 is 12. But she had 13, and it says how many did she have left? So she had 13. She gave away 12 of them. How many does she have left? She has 1 pen left. Okay, so you'll notice that each of these problems has 2 steps. So if you find yourself only doing 1, you might have to go, uh-oh, and then think of what happened. Number 2, Wes and Joey each have 7 baseball cards, each of them. Ben has 5 fewer cards than Wes. So we have 3 people here. And Joey combined. So I should have finished that sentence. Ben has 5 fewer cards than Wes and Joey combined. How many baseball cards does Ben have? First, it says Wes and Joey each have 7 baseball cards. So that means Wes has 7 and Joey has 7. But it says Ben has 5 fewer. You can think of that as less. Ben has 5 fewer cards than Wes and Joey combined. Wow. So that means if I combine Joey and Wes, Ben still has 5 fewer than that. Okay, so let's figure that out. Wes and Joey combined is adding 7 plus 7. That's 14. But it says Ben has 5 fewer than this. What is that? Fewer minus? So 14 minus 5, what is that? Sounds like 9 to me. So when it asks how many baseball cards does Ben have, the answer would be 9. Let's move on. Kylie had a pack of 48 crayons. She lost 8 of the crayons at school, and her sister broke 4 of them. How many crayons does Kylie have now? Oh no. So she started with 48. If you lose 8 of them, we're going to say that's minus. What is that? 48 minus 8. 40. And her sister broke 4 of them, so you're going to lose another 4. 40 minus 4 is 36. She has 36 crayons left. So that was a 2-step because we had to do 1 subtraction and then we had to do another subtraction. Okay? I'm going to read you through these next 6. On number 4, it says Mark got $10, $20, $15, and $5 as birthday gifts. He wants to buy a game that costs $55. How much more money does he need? Well, first you have to figure out how much money he got for his birthday. So you want to add all of that birthday money up. And then you got to figure out how far away that is from 55. Okay, pause this video and figure that out, please. After you finish 4, here's 5. Pete caught 4 fish. Robbie caught 3 times as many fish as Pete. Nick caught 27 fish. How many more fish does Nick have than Robbie? Ooh, how many more? That sounds like some subtraction. But it says first, we know that this is what Pete has, 4. We know how many he has. But Robbie caught 3 times as many as Pete. So I would probably multiply those numbers. Once you know the answer there, then you could do some subtracting to figure out how many more fish Nick has. Pause this video and then press play when you're ready for the next one. Question number 6 says, Kat has 3 piles of rocks with 7 rocks in each pile. Her friend adds more rocks to the piles. Now there are 32 rocks total. How many rocks did her friend bring? Well, if you have 3 piles and there's 7 in each pile, to figure out your total, that sounds like multiplying because you're going to count 7 3 times. It says now there are 32 rocks in total after her friend adds to them. So if we're going to figure out how many the friend brought, that sounds like subtraction. So when you have your answer here, you can subtract that from your total here, and that'll give you your answer. Okay, pause this video, write down your equations, circle your answer, and press play when you're ready for number 7. Number 7 says a farmer fills 4 cartons with eggs. Each carton holds 6 eggs. 4 cartons, 6 eggs in a carton. If I wanted that total, I think I would probably multiply those 2 numbers. After the farmer fills the cartons, he has 3 eggs left over. How many total eggs does the farmer have? So if he has 3 extra, we can add this to our total here to get our answer. Write your equations, circle your answer, press play when you're ready for the next question. On number 8, it says Taylor spent 90 minutes at the beach. She ate lunch for 27 minutes and played a game for 32 minutes. She spent the rest of the time swimming. So about how long did Taylor spend swimming? Interesting. So she has 90 minutes there. She uses 27 for a game. She used 27 for lunch and 32 for a game. Sounds like we're going to need to subtract 27 and 32 from our total to figure out how much time she did swimming. Pause this video, give your answer, and when you're ready, join me on question 9. On number 9, it says, Andrea wants to save 900 box tops. She saved 135 in 1 month. She saved 83 the next month. About how many more box tops does Andrea need to save? That says about. So you'll notice these answers say like fewer than 300, between 300 and 600, between 600 and 800, more than 800. So I'd probably start by figuring out how many is left after you subtract 135 from your 900. And then whatever that answer is, I would subtract another 83 to figure out where your answer is going to be. Okay? When you're finished with this question, you can meet me on the next page. Alrighty, the first thing I do is always the same. I pick up my pencil and write my name. You should do the same thing in case these pages get mixed up and jumbled. Fraction models. Ooh, I love a good fraction. And we know that when it comes to fractions, it's the number of pieces shaded compared to the number of total pieces. So I have 1 piece that's shaded in, so I know that my numerator, my top number, is going to be a 1. And then my bottom number is going to be the total number of pieces. And I have to count all of them, even this one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the bottom number is going to be a 6. Don't forget, when you're counting all of the pieces, you have to also count whatever's shaded in, okay? Let's do another one together. Number 2, what fraction is shaded? Well, our numerator is going to be what's shaded in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can write 4 for my top number. Then I need to count all of the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 total pieces. Don't forget to count those pieces that are shaded in. Let's do number 3 together. It looks like I see 1, 2, 3 shaded in. So our numerator is going to be 3. And our denominator, our bottom number, is going to be the total number of pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. the denominator will be 5. So our answer is 3/5 is shaded in. Now, I'm going to help you with, let's see, 1 or 2 more, and then I'll let you do the rest. On number 4, it says, Amy's family had pizza for dinner. She shaded parts below. The shaded parts below shows how much was eaten. Which fraction shows how much pizza was left? So if this is what was eaten, and they want to know how much was left, it looks like we need to count the pieces that aren't shaded. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3 that aren't shaded. And I have 2 answers that have 3 as a numerator, which means that these cannot be options. But then how am I going to figure out which one of these denominators is correct? What do I need to do? I need to count the total number of pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bottom number is 8. 3/8 is how much was left. Okay. I'm going to let you do this one on your own, but wants to know which one of these says 2/6. 2 is going to be what's shaded. 6 is going to be the total number of pieces. Okay? Pause this video. When you're ready, press play for number 6. Number 6 says the circle below shows 1 whole. Shade the circle to show 3/4. Okay, so we know that the top number is what's shaded in, and the bottom number is the total number of pieces. So we need to break this circle into 4 pieces. I'm going to help you with the first part by just basically drawing a huge plus sign. Now I've broken this circle into 4 pieces. Now I'm going to let you shade in 3 of them. Pause this video. Press play when you're ready for number 7. Wesley drew a model of a candy bar and shaded the amount he ate. What fraction of the candy bar did Wesley eat? So we have to figure out what he ate. So the top number is going to be how many pieces he ate, and the bottom number is going to be how many pieces there are altogether. Okay? I'm going to let you do this one on your own. Pause this video. Press play when you're ready for number 8. Number 8 says, Casey drew a hexagon and shaded it 5/6. Which shape could be hers? Uh-oh. So only one of these is an option, and it has to have 5 shaded pieces, and there has to be a total of 6. Okay? I'm going to let you work that one on your own. Mrs. Smith cut an apple into 8 equal slices. She gave 3 of the slices to her son and 2 slices to her daughter. Which fraction model shows how many slices Mrs. Smith has left? Okay, so the shaded ones are going to be what she gave away, and the unshaded ones are going to be what she has left over. Okay, so if she had 8 and she gave 3 and 2 away, that's 3 plus 2 is 5. You're going to have 5 shaded in, and the rest are not going to be shaded in. Okay? I'm going to let you finish that one. Join me on the next page when you're ready. Yep, the first thing I do is always the same. I pick up my pencil and I write my name. Talking about number lines on this page, and I am a huge fan of the number line because you can draw it anywhere to help you solve an answer. So if I look at this, it says, on which number line does the point best represent 1/8? So 1 out of 8. So that means, so from all of these say 0 to 1. And this is a fraction of the number 1, where I only have 1 of 8 pieces. So I have to figure out which one of these is broken into 8 segments, and then which of one of them goes up to the first segment. So if I counted them very carefully, watch what I do here. I hope this makes sense. So if I look at this first one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a possibility because that's broken into 8 pieces. B is 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's only broken into 5 pieces. That can't be it. 1, 2. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't be that one either. So our best answer is A, and if you notice, this would be like 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, and keep going until we would be done. and then 8 out of 8 is the same as 1. But here you can see that their dot is at 1/8, so we're good to go. So our answer would be A. Let's take a look at 2. Which number line shows point X at 1/6? Well, once again, I would go through there and see which ones of these are actually broken into 6 pieces. So if I look at A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it can't be that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's broken into tenths. 1, 2, 3. That's interesting. I don't like that one because that's kind of half of one there. That's kind of half of a third. So definitely not that one. Is this X kind of at the first of the sixths? It really is. This would be 1/6. This would be 2/6, and then 3/6. This would be 4/6, 5/6, and this would be the 6th one, which makes it the whole thing. So yeah, I'd say B for that one. I'm going to help you with 2 more. What is the value of point P on the number line below? So there's the value, the point there. We have to figure out where that's at. So if I look at these, how many pieces do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've broken into fifths. So that's an option, and that's an option. These are not. So this would be 0 out of 5. This would be 1 out of 5. So we know that's going to be our answer. If it would have been here, that would have been 2/5. There's 3/5, 4/5, and there's 5/5, which is also the same as 1. Let's take a look at 4. Pat is going to plot a point at 1/4 on the number line below. Where should Pat plot the point? Well, let's make sure we're broken into 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're good there. This 0 would be 0 out of 4. This first one would be 1 out of 4. The next one would be 2 out of 4. Then 3 out of 4. And then 4 out of 4. So if we're looking for 1/4, it has to be A. All right, I'm going to let you work on this one on your own, but let's count. It says, what fraction is the smiley at? How many pieces do we have here? Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3. So we're talking about thirds, and this would be 0 out of 3. Okay, I'm going to let you finish that on your own. Press play when you're ready for the next one. 6, what fraction belongs in the box? Well, let's count the number of pieces. 1, 2. So that bottom number is going to be a 2. Okay, pause and finish. Number 7, the number line below is divided into equal parts between 0 and 1. What fraction is shown by the shaded part of this number line? Well, I think we should start by counting our pieces again. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 pieces here. So if that's 0 out of 5, then this bit here is going to be what out of 5? Okay, I'm going to let you solve that one. Number 8, what is the interval between each point on the number line below? That says between each point. So that means how much is one of these, 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 one of these, one of these, one of these, because they're all the same. How much is one of those? Each of them are the same. How many of them were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of them. So each one of these, I'm going to help you with this one, is going to be 1/8, right? Now, if I count 2 of them, I get 2/8. But that's still 1/8 plus 1/8. Or if I were to count 3 of them, that would be 3/8. But each individual one of these is 1/8. Each little segment has to be identical because fractions, if we're using the same denominator, are all the same. So if you're counting them individually, they're each 1/8. But as you add them together, that's when you get 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, which is 1. Jake's race is divided into checkpoints on the number line below. How far through the race is Jake when he reaches checkpoint X? So here's his checkpoint. How far has he gotten if he started here and he got to here? Count the sections again. So it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're talking about fourths, and that's always 0 out of 4, which means this one here is going to be what? I'm going to let you answer that on your own. Last one, number 10. What is the length of the line segment below? So how long is that? Well, count the sections again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 segments, so this would be 0 out of 6. But from here to here, I'm going to let you answer that one on your own. I already wrote my name on this one, so we're good to go. Hopefully you did too. We're talking about equivalent fractions. Fractions that might look different or within how we call them, but they're the same amount, okay? Equal, equivalent, okay? So which shape is at the fraction 4/4 on the number line? Well, if we remember, we count these sections 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of those is a fourth. That's 0 out of 4. That's 1 out of 4. That's 2 out of 4. That's 3 out of 4, which means this one is 4 out of 4. So that would be our answer. Number 2, which fraction on the number line is equal to 1 whole? What represents the whole thing? Well, 0 is nothing. 1/5 is 1 out of 5 pieces, 2 out of 5 pieces, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5. 5 out of 5 means you have the entire thing. So 5/5 is going to be equal to 1 whole. Okay? What about number 3? Let's see, how many do we have here? 3. I can do 2 more with you. Okay. Model 1 and Model 2 are each divided into equal parts with 3 parts shaded on each model. Which statement correctly compares the 2 models? Now let's take a look. This says we have 3 pieces shaded in, and they broke the whole thing into 6 pieces. Okay, that makes sense. Model 2 says they shaded in 3 pieces, but this one is broken into 8 pieces. Okay. So is Model 1 equal to Model 2 because the top numbers are the same? Model 1 is greater than 2 because it has a larger denominator. Model 1 is less than Model 2 because 3 parts out of 6 is less than 3 parts out of 8. Or Model 1 is greater than Model 2 because 3 parts out of 6 is greater than 3 parts out of 8. So that's interesting. So we're talking about what's shaded in. And if you notice here, when I have fewer pieces, like this is cut into 6 pieces and this is cut into 8, the pieces are larger. When I cut it into more pieces, it's smaller. You could even think of a pizza, right? If I cut a pizza, let's see, here's pizza 1, and I cut it into 2 pieces, and I shade one of those in, that's a pretty big piece. If I cut this pizza into 4 pieces, and I shade one of them in, that's a much smaller piece. Okay, so this would be 1 out of 2 pieces. This would be 1 out of 4 pieces. Okay, so if this denominator is smaller, if it's a smaller number, the pieces are bigger. If the number's larger, the pieces are smaller. And that should make sense because if you cut something into more pieces, the pieces get smaller. So on our model, 3 out of 6, these are bigger pieces than 3 out of 8 because if I cut this thing into 8 pieces, they're smaller. So I want you to figure out which one of these talks about that. This one says they're equal, which we know can't be true. C says Model 1 is less, so we can't do that, okay? So we have to choose between B and D. B says Model 1 is greater than Model 2 because it has a larger denominator. Well, this is not a larger number, but it is greater. So I'm not a big fan of this answer. And if we double check, this is Model 1 is greater than Model 2 because 3 parts out of 6 is greater than 3 parts out of 8, and that is true. So we can select D for that answer. For 4, it says, which model correctly compares the two fractions below? So we're comparing 4/8 to 5/8, okay? So you're going to try to find the model that has 4 pieces shaded out of 8 and 5 shaded out of 8, okay? So if I'm looking, let's see, that's 3, so that's no good. That's 3, that's no good. Oh, here's 4 out of 8, and that's 5 out of 8. And this one is 4 out of 8 and 5 out of 8. Okay, so we know we're not looking at A and we're not looking at C. So we have to figure out which one of these is correct, because the only difference is the greater and less than signs. And I like to think of it as an alligator is going to eat the bigger number. So which one has more shaded in, right? It would be 5/8, right? So 4 5/8. Okay, so which one of these has the alligator eating the larger number? If you're thinking of teeth, nom, 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 nom. I would say it would be letter B, so I can transfer that symbol up here. Okay, I'm going to walk you through these last 5, okay? Number 5 says a recipe for trail mix requires the following ingredients. So you're going to need 1/3 of peanuts, 2/3 of sunflower seeds, 1/2 cup of raisins, 2/4 cup of almonds. Which 2 items did the recipe require the same amount of? Oh my goodness. So 2 of these numbers are the same. Goodness, how are you going to figure that out? Well, if I compare thirds, 1 out of 3 is not the same as 2 out of 3. So that's not going to be very good. 1 out of 3 and 1 out of 2, that can't be compared. So it looks like I'm going to have to compare 2 out of 3 and 1 out of 2, or 1 out of 2 and 2 out of 4. If this were a number line, and I cut this into 4 equal pieces, and I cut this into 2 equal pieces, this would be 2 out of 4, and this would be 1 out of 2. So this one would be 2/4, and this would be 1/2. Those look pretty similar. They really do. Now, if I wanted to do thirds on here as well, I absolutely could draw my number line, break it into thirds, and then I would have 1/3 here. 1/3 here, 2/3 there. Those don't match at all, unfortunately. So I'm guessing you can circle the 2 things that are going to be the same. On number 6, it says 4/10 of the model is shaded below. Which fraction is equivalent to the shaded portion of this model? So this is 4/10 that's shaded in. I have to figure out which one of these is it the same as. 4/4 is the same as 1. And that whole thing is not shaded in, so that can't be it. 1/2 would mean that I would have a whole half shaded in, which I don't have there, so that can't be it. So it's either going to be 6/10 or 2/5. Well, it says that there is 4/10 shaded in. 4/10 and 6/10 are definitely not the same thing, so that can't be it. But what I do want to figure out is, how could that possibly be the answer? Is there a way to break this into 5 equal pieces? I'm going to use a highlighter to show you. So if I considered 20 of these to be 1 piece, watch what happens. So pretend that each one of these colors is an individual piece, okay? And I'm going to leave the last one white, okay? So do I have 5 pieces here? I have a blue, a red, a green, a yellow, and a white. They all have 20s in them. So technically, I broke this down into fifths. That would be 1 out of 5. This would be 1 out of 5. That's another fifth. that's another fifth, and that's another fifth. So if I'm talking about 2/5, is that what is shaded in our original drawing? It absolutely is, because I'm going to use green here. This is what was originally shaded in, and that would be 1/5 plus 1/5, which is 2/5. I ended up answering that one for you. Sorry about that. Which list includes equivalent fractions? Okay, well, if you wanted to, you could do some drawing, but what I will tell you is this. 2s and 4s go really well together. 4s and 6s, not so much. 2s and 6s can go together pretty well. And if you want to draw some number lines, you absolutely can, which would be like if I did this. So this would be fourths. This would be halves. There would be our sixths. And then you could draw them on there, right? This would be 1/2, 1/2, 3/4, 5/6. That would be A, that doesn't work. If I did B, I'd have 1/2, 2/4, and 1, 2, 3, 4/6. Well, there's 2 equivalent fractions on B, okay? If I did C, I'd have 1/2, 2/4, 3/6. Oh, that's the one. Those are all the same. Those are all the same. Okay, number 8. Which is the following is equivalent to 5/5? I'm going to let you do that one on your own because we've talked about that several times. When you have all of the pieces, what's another name for it? Number 9. Janie ate the shaded portion of the pie. Write 2 equivalent fractions that represent the portion of pie that Jamie ate. Well, we know that she ate 2 out of the 4 pieces because there's 2 shaded in. There are 2 shaded in and there's 4 total. So I am going to write 2/4. But if I also think of it as just splitting it this way, okay, and I'm going to say ignore these lines right here. Okay, ignore that. See if I can shade that in. Pretend that's shaded in, okay? Okay, so what would that be? Write your answer right there.